I've made the short trip across to the neighbouring county of Rutland on the evening of the hottest day of the year so far. I'm here at Eyebrook Reservoir, and way off in a field on the opposite side of the reservoir, a brown hare grazes. The field surrounding Eyebrook are a pretty good place to see hares, and hopefully later on when I travel to that side, I'll get closer views. There are not many birds to be seen out on the water, just the odd tufted duck and gadwall. But the common terns are certainly busy as they fly around, some skimming the surface of the water as they look for small fish, some of which they'll bring to their mates, sitting on nests on the man-made pontoon. I move a little further around the perimeter road, and as I'm setting up my camera and tripod, a visiting osprey takes me by surprise. They often come to the reservoir to fish. Rutland water is only a few miles further north. The Manton Bay pair, Maya and 33, are now back here, rearing chicks, and hopefully it won't be too long before I can get back there to film them. As the osprey disappears out of sight, I listen to the beautiful bird song coming from the hedgerows and beyond. I can hear whitethroat and the distinctive "a little bit of bread with no cheese" call of the yellowhammer. I can also hear lark song. I watch a bird rise out of the field beyond the hedge. I try to find it with my camera, but it ascends quickly, rising higher and higher as it sings, and is soon lost in the blue. And as in my last film, a male reed bunting is much more obliging. There are a few more water birds to be seen from here. A solitary black-headed gull and cormorant perch on the posts. The bird in the middle of this trio gapes in the heat. There are also great-crested grebes to be seen, now resplendent in their breeding head feathers. On the edge of a cut that, as far as I know, is only visible from this side of the reserve, stands this grey heron. But then, much more interestingly, I notice to the right of the heron is this bird, a cattle egret, a bird that's native to the tropics, the subtropics, and warmer temperate zones, but now, although still fairly rare, their numbers are increasing here in the UK. They're often found close to large wild herbivores, or cattle, as their hooves churn up the ground disturbing worms and insects, which are a large part of the cattle egret's diet. The last one I saw must have been around 10 years ago at Rutland Water. They are reported regularly in my native Northamptonshire, but I've never seen one when I've been out and about, so to see one here this evening is a pleasant surprise. And there to the right, the cattle egret is a little egret, and you can see the cattle egret is a smaller bird. There's nothing much to be seen from the bridge at the northern inflow, so I move further round the perimeter road and get much better views of the common tern. I watch them as they continue to fish, flying gracefully through the air and skimming the surface of the water. Common tern, nicknamed the sea swallow, I suppose because they have a forked tail. They're also very good at hovering too. You'll often see them doing this before plunging into the water after a fish. They hover in a similar way to kestrels, their heads gyroscopically keeping almost perfectly still, enabling them to accurately pinpoint the position of a fish just below the surface of the water. I move on in the hope of getting a closer look at brown hares as they come out to graze in the surrounding fields, but unfortunately at the moment no brown hares are showing, just this cock pheasant. And then the cock pheasant is eventually joined by 2 carrion crow. In this field is an old derelict barn, which used to be the roost of a barn owl, and sometimes you could actually see it perched in the doorway, but now the roof has gone and the old barn provides no shelter. Just behind me, a pair of mute swan take to the air, and as I watch them, I think to myself how good it is to be out and about again, and how lucky I am to have a place like Eyebrook, which is only a 20-minute drive from home, where you can find peace and fresh air, and there's certainly no problems in social distancing here. I watch this fisherman turn and head back to shore. I'm sure he's thinking of returning home, and so am I. It's a hot night and I feel the need for something cool, but all evening I've heard the scratchy song of whitethroat, but none have shown until now, so I'll leave you with this whitethroat singing. Stay safe and I'll see you next time.